Hi everyone. Yes, I want to make a shorter version of my video on Jeremiah, and the second Exodus. So here guys, I'm just going to go through the chapters that clearly points to the second Exodus, or that can also refer to the second Exodus, because I've noticed with Yahuwah's prophecies that he gives, there are many layers to them that can refer to this different time periods. And we can also look at Ecclesiastes 1 verse 9 that says that what was will be again, and there is nothing new under the sun. So what happened before can happen again. And let's look at what Jeremiah says about the second Exodus. Like I said in my long version of this video, that most of Jeremiah talks about what happened in his time with Babylon and their siege of Judah and Jerusalem. And we know that it's all concerning the 70-year captivity, after which they could return. But that time Jerusalem was also destroyed. Okay, let's look. Like I said, most of Jeremiah talks about that period and not so much about future events. Not like Isaiah that has so many chapters just talking about that can also refer to second Exodus and the battle of Gog of Magog. Jeremiah 30. In that day, says Yahweh, I will break the yoke of their neck and will burst their bonds, and they shall no longer serve strangers, but they shall serve Yahuwah their Elohim, and I will raise up to them David their king. Here clearly refers not to that time period. That refers to a future time when Yahweh will raise up another King David, maybe himself, or someone that comes in the spirit and strength or power of David, or has the same character as David, much like John the Baptist that came in the strength and power of Elijah, that came in the spirit and strength of Elijah, something like that, maybe something like that. Okay, so this clearly points to a future event, I believe, maybe in the second Exodus afterwards. Jeremiah 31. At that time, says Yahweh, I will be Elohim to the family of Israel, and they shall be to me a people. Thus say Yahweh, I found him warm in the wilderness with them that were slain with the sword. Go you, and destroy not Israel. Yahweh appeared to him from afar, saying, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore have I drawn you in compassion. Remember, Yahweh doesn't forget what he promised. And in the times we are living, he's going to fulfill that promise he made to Abraham. He promised him that they will, in his descendants will inherit Canaan, and in future with the second Exodus that will be fulfilled again. Remember, we live during the period of the short season of deception in Revelation 20. We are not waiting for a tribulation, that's happened already. Verse 4. For I will build you, and you shall be built, O Virgin of Israel. Virgin referring to pure. Virgin refers to someone who obeys Yahweh's commands. You shall yet take your timbrel and go forth with the party of them that make merry. For you have planted vineyards on the mountains of Samaria. Plant ye and praise. For it is a day when those that plead on the mountains of Ephraim shall call, saying, Arise you, and go up to Zion and to Yahuwah Elohim. Clearly referring to this after the second Exodus, because then people can go up to Zion to be in Yahuwah's presence there. And Yahuwah mentions this quite often, and especially in Isaiah, when he's referring to Israel and Judah, Ephraim and Judah gathered together again, and them moving into the original Israel territories in the bottom part of Africa. Then they can go up to Zion, where Yahweh would be. or his presence would be. For thus say Yahuwah of Jacob, thus say Yahuwah of Israel, rejoice you and exalt over the head of the nations. Yahuwah is going to lift up Israel above the other nations. Make proclamation and praise you. Say, Yahuwah has delivered his people, the remnant of Israel. Again, clearly referring to the second Exodus, because a remnant of Israel will be delivered from all the nations, removed from all the nations during wars there, and they will be gathered together in the bottom part of Africa, at first in South Africa, as I prove in my other videos. From there they will move upwards into the original territory of Israel, which is up to the equator in Kenya. Yahuwah has delivered Israel from their nations where they are in now, and they will flee those nations as a remnant to one place that Yahuwah is going to prepare for them, which is South Africa. As I said, watch my other videos on these subjects. I explain there and give verses that proves this is the case. Behold, I bring them from the north, and will gather them from the ends of the earth to the feast of the Passover, and the people shall beget a great multitude, and they shall return here. Shall beget a great multitude. In my previous videos also, especially with Isaiah and the second Exodus, I show that a few, the remnant that will be few, will become many. Yahuwah is going to bless them and make them fruitful. They went forth with weeping, and I will bring them back with consolation, causing them to lodge by the channels of waters in the straight way. Straight way, in the narrow way, talks about Yahuwah's, can refer to Yahuwah's instructions, and they are living in it, obeying it, and they shall not err in it. You see, straight way, and they shall not err in it. They will not live lawless when they are there. For I am become a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. Hear the words of Yahuwah, you nations, and proclaim them to the islands afar off. Say, he that scattered Israel will also gather him, and keep him as one that feeds his flock. Yahuwah, who scattered Israel because he divorced them, and Judah, because they lived lawless, didn't want to obey him, and worshipped other deities. So Yahuwah divorced them, and after Yahushua's death and resurrection, Yahuwah can remarry Israel. Basically, Yahushua can remarry Israel and Judah, and this is what will happen. And then feeding the flock, referring to other nations that also believes on Yahuwah, and Yahuwah will send out his remnant, Israel remnant, that are true descendants of Abraham, physical descendants of Abraham. He will send them out as missionaries, as I show in my other videos. He will send them out as missionaries to minister to these other nations, the flocks of Yahuwah, who also believe on Yahuwah. Although they're not physical descendants of Abraham, they also believe on Yahuwah. So Yahuwah will minister to them through his Israelites. For Yahuwah has ransomed Jacob, Israel. He has rescued him out of the hand of them that were stronger than he. The other nations where the true Israelites are now are strong nations. When Yahuwah gathers them in one place, those other nations will be much stronger, like Russia and China. And but these Israelites won't have to fear, because Yahuwah will supernaturally protect them in the bottom part of Africa. Until the battle of Gog of Magog. Of course, Yahuwah will then lift his protection so that the nations will surround that territory, so that they will come and fight, so that Yahuwah can finally destroy them with his fire. And they shall come and shall rejoice in the mount of Zion, and shall come to the good things of Yahuwah, even to the land of corn, wine, fruits, cattle, sheep, and their soul shall be as fruitful tree, and they shall hunger no more. Then shall the virgins rejoice. Hunger no more is physical hunger, but also spiritual hunger. Yahweh will feed their souls. Then shall the virgins rejoice in the assembly of youth, the pure in heart, those who received Yahweh's commands on their hearts, like Isaiah 51 verse 7 says. And the old men shall rejoice, and I will turn their mourning into joy, and will make them merry. I will expand and cheer with wine the soul of the priests, the sons of Levi. And my people shall be satisfied with my good things. Thus say Yahweh. A voice was heard in Ramah, a lamentation of weeping and wailing. Rachel would not cease weeping for the children, because they are not. This of course refers also to the event of Herod killing the babies, because he was trying to kill Yahushua. But this chapter in general talks about and can refer to the second Exodus, because as we see from the next verse, it just continues on the same trend. Thus say Yahweh, let thy voice cease from weeping, and your eyes from tears, for there is a reward for your works, and they shall return from the land of your enemies. There shall be an abiding home for your children, referring to the bottom part of Africa. The original territory of Canaan was by the equator. I have heard the sound of Ephraim lamenting and saying, Thou hast chastened me, and I was chastened, as a calf was not willingly taught. Turn you me, and I shall turn, for you are my Elohim, Yahuwah Elohim. For after my captivity I repented, and after I knew, I groaned for the day of shame, and shewed thee that I bore reproach from my youth. Ephraim is a beloved son, a pleasing child to me, says Yahuwah, for because my words are in him. You see, Ephraim is receiving Yahweh's law on his heart and does it, and he becomes Yahweh's beloved. I will surely remember him, because Yahweh's laws is on his heart. Yahweh will remember him. Therefore I made haste to help him, because Yahweh's laws is on his heart. I will surely have mercy upon him, because Yahweh's laws is on his heart, say Yahweh. This is what we can see when we obey Yahuwah. He will do these things. He will hasten to help us. He will have mercy on us. He will remember us. And it's also prophesied in I think in Malachi, that those who call Yahweh on his name, a book of remembrance will be written with their names in it. So yes, Yahweh remembers those who obeys his commands. Prepare yourself, O Zion. Execute vengeance. Look to your ways. Return, O Virgin of Israel, by the way by which you went. Return mourning to the cities. How long, O disgraced daughter, will you turn away? For Yahweh has created safety for a new plantation. Men shall go about in safety. In future, after the second Exodus, it will be safe, one of the safest places in the world, in the bottom part of Africa, where Israel will be gathered. For thus say Yahweh, they shall yet speak this word in the land of Judah, and in the cities thereof, when I shall turn his captivity. Blessed be Yahweh on his righteous holy mountain. Now this is his holy mountain, Zion. I believe it's around the equator. It's either Mount Kenya or Mount Ruwenzori. At the moment I think it's Ruwenzori, because it is in line with some of the scriptures mentioned in the Bible. For instance, what David says, that Jerusalem is surrounded by mountains. Now that can be the case with Ruwenzori, because there's different mountains altogether there. And the verse that mentions that Zedekiah, the king, is it Hezekiah? Yes, Hezekiah, that he dug a tunnel from the river Nile, Gihon, to the west side of Jerusalem, to have water on the west side, which is called I think it's called the Gihon Valley. Anyway, that proves that Jerusalem is next to the Nile River in Africa. That verse on its own proves it. But let's continue here. Verse 27. Therefore, behold, the days come, say Yahuwah, when I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the seed of man. See, Yahuwah will increase men in his territories of Israel that was desolate. We see it all over Isaiah. He mentions it so many times, that Israel and Jerusalem is desolate at the moment. It's empty, desolate, destroyed. There's no people, no Israelites living there now. So the fake Israel and Jerusalem up there in Palestine, it's fake. It's supposed to be desolate, according to the prophecies. It's only supposed to receive these people, Israelites, after the second Exodus. And we're not there yet. And the seed of beasts, and it shall come to pass that as I watched over them, to pull down and to afflict, so will I watch over them, to build and to plant, say Yahweh. Watching over means also to protect them. We saw also in Isaiah that Yahweh will have, like with the first Exodus, those cloud by day and fire pillar by night, protection for them. In those days they shall certainly not say, the fathers ate a sour grape and the children's teeth were set on edge. But everyone shall die in his own sin, and the teeth of him that eats the sour grape shall be set on edge. So remember that 10 Commandments, it says Yahweh visits the sins unto the generations, to refer the fourth who hates him, but showing mercy unto thousands of generations of those who love him and obeys him. Here he says that it will change, and he who sins, his curse won't go over to his descendants, but only he will suffer the consequences of his lawlessness, not his posterity. Behold, the days come, say Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant which I made with their fathers in the day when I took them hold of their hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, for they abode not in my covenant, and I disregarded them, say Yahweh. For this is my covenant, which I will make with the house of Israel after those days. Let's just stop there for a moment. Yahweh says, this covenant he's making, he shows that, like with the first Exodus, he made a special covenant with Israel. Now with the second Exodus, he's going to again make another new covenant with Israel. This covenant is with Israel, the remnant of Israel, with the second Exodus. It's not everybody in the world. This is a specific covenant with the remnant of Israel in the second Exodus. Now let's see how special this covenant is going to be. For this is my covenant which I will make with the house of Israel. Here he says for who this covenant is. After those days, say Yahweh, I will surely put my laws into their minds and write them on their hearts. And I will be to them Elohim, and they shall be to me a people. So what's special about this? Yahweh is going to write it on their hearts, like we can receive the covenant, the laws of Yahweh on our hearts already. But what's special here, he's going to put it in their minds. They're going to remember all his covenant, all his laws automatically. And they shall not at all teach everyone his fellow citizen, and everyone his brother, saying, Know Yahuwah, for all shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them. How amazing is that? You will know the deeper meanings of Yahuwah's laws, of his Torah. You will know it. You will just know it off by heart. This is amazing. Yahweh is going to write it on our hearts, but also place it in our memories. It's going to be in our memories forever. And we will also desire to do that which is in our mind. And we will understand the deeper meanings of all his laws. That's amazing. That's truly amazing. And this is specifically for the remnant of Israel, according to what I read here. Because he's referring to another exodus of the descendants of Abraham, from that's in the four corners of the world at the moment. The physical descendants of Abraham will come together again in the future, and they will receive this special covenant, a deeper knowledge, understanding of Yahuwah's laws, and it will be written on their hearts that they will desire to do it. For I will be merciful to their lawlessness, and their sins I will remember no more. Thus say Yahuwah, who gives the sun for a light by day, the moon and the stars for a light by night, and makes a roaring in the sea, so that the waves thereof roar. Yahuwah Almighty is his name. If these ordinances cease from before me, say Yahuwah, then shall the family of Israel cease to be a nation before me forever. Yahuwah just says that this will happen. Though the sky should be raised to a greater height, meaning the firmament, the dome over us, he says, if it should be raised higher than what it is now, say Yahuwah, and though the ground of the earth should be sunk lower beneath, yet I will not cast off the family of Israel, saith Yahuwah. He will fulfill that promise he made to Abraham. For all that they have done, behold, the days come, say Yahuwah, when the city shall be built to Yahuwah from the tower of Anamiel to the gate of the corner, and this measurement of it shall be proceed from front of them as far as the hills of Chareb, and it shall be compassed with a circular wall of choice stones, and all the Asaremoth, even to Nachal Kedron, as far as the corner of the horse gate eastward, shall be holiness to Yahuwah, shall be set apart to Yahuwah, and it shall not fail any more, and shall not be destroyed forever. Clearly a future event, because these places, which I don't know where they are, but are in the territory of original Israel, they are destroyed at the moment, but Yahuwah says here, when they are rebuilt, restored, they will not be destroyed ever again. This is after the second Exodus. When the people move back into those territories, Yahuwah will let those territories be rebuilt. Jerusalem will be rebuilt, because it lies destroyed at the moment. And these other places, Yahuwah will also rebuild. As we see in Isaiah, there's not just Jerusalem, there's other areas also of Israel that's desolate and destroyed. Basically all of Israel original territory is desolate. It doesn't have Israelites. And Yahuwah will repair and recover and fill it again with his descendants, with the descendants of Abraham. Jeremiah 32, behold, I will gather them out of every land where I have scattered them in my anger. Yahuwah will gather them from all over the world at my wrath and great fury, and I will bring them back into this place, the original territory of Israel in Africa, and will cause them to dwell safely. And they shall be to me a people, and I will be to them Elohim, and I will give them another way and another heart, to fear me continually, and that for good to them and their children after them. People will fear Yahuwah. They will have in their memories Yahuwah's instructions, and in their heart the desire to do it. And I will make with them an everlasting covenant. See here again, after the second Exodus, Yahuwah is going to make a new covenant with those remnant of Israel, physical descendants of Israel, which I will by no means turn away from them, and I will put my fear into their heart, that they may not depart from me. And I will make an everlasting covenant with you. This is what Isaiah 55 verse 3 also says. Everlasting covenant. And I will visit them to do them good, and I will plant them in this land in faithfulness, and with all my heart and with all my soul. For thus say Yahuwah, as I have brought upon this people all these great evils, so will I bring upon them all the good things which I pronounced upon them. Second Exodus again. I just want to mention here, all these evils Yahweh brought on them. Israel will finish with on a high note, you could say. Yahweh's they're gonna finish in this time 7,000 plus years that we are on this earth. Israel will finish on a high note. The true Israelites, not the fake ones there in Jerusalem today, who calls themselves Jews. I'm not going to talk about that at the moment, but yes, they are not Israelites. Well, majority of them, according to their own books. So Yahweh is going to gather his people, and like I said, they'll finish on a high note. They will finish as the blessed nation in the world and being a blessing to others. Jeremiah 33, thus say Yahweh, who made the earth and formed it, to establish it, Yahweh is his name. Cry to me, and I will answer you, and I will declare to you great and mighty things which you know not. For thus say Yahweh concerning the houses of this city, his city, and concerning the houses of the king of Judah, which have been pulled down for mounds and fortifications, to fight against the Chaldeans, and to fill it with the corpses of men, whom I smote in mine anger and my wrath, and turned away my face from them for all their lawlessness. Here Yahweh refers to what Babylon did to Judah because of their lawlessness. Behold, I bring upon her healing and cure, and I will show myself to them, and will heal her, and make both peace and security. Yahweh refers here to a future event. Remember, for Yahweh, 1,000 years is one day to him. So he can jump around in prophecy from now and then suddenly thousands of years in the future. And I will turn the captivity of Judah and the captivity of Israel, and will build them even as before. You see here, he jumps right to the end of the time period we are here on earth, when Judah and Israel will be gathered again. Ephraim and Judah. Sometimes Yahweh refers to the 10.5 tribes as Ephraim, and 2.5 tribes as Judah. In this case, it's Judah and Israel. Referring to the second Exodus. And I will cleanse them from all their lawlessness, whereby they have sinned against me, and will not remember their sins, whereby they have sinned against me, and revolted from me. And it shall be for joy and praise, and for glory to all the people of the earth. You see here, they will be a blessing to the nations. As it says in Isaiah and Jeremiah, that they will be a covenant to the nations, meaning a promise. There will be a promise to the nations. There will be a blessing to the nations. They will be ministers to the nations. As we also read in Isaiah, it says that they will be missionaries to the nations. So first they will receive in their minds, in their memories, and on their hearts, Yahweh's deep commands, his original commands, with its deeper meanings. And after they receive it and are filled with Yahweh's Spirit, they will be a blessing to other nations. They can go out and heal people and do miracles and minister to them and teach them the truth of Yahweh's Word and the deeper meanings of His Word. How amazing is that? Praise Yahweh, hallelujah. Let's start again, verse 9. And it shall be for joy and praise and for glory to all the people of the earth, who shall hear all the good that I will do, and they shall fear and die and be provoked for all the good things and for all the peace which I will bring upon them. Provoked, you could say, what does that mean? Maybe provoked because of all the good things Yahweh does for his descendants of Israel, his people. They will be sad because they're not having the same blessings from Yahuwah and the descendants of Abraham. Isaiah 49:8 says, I will preserve you and give you as a covenant promise to the people to restore the earth. You see, the Israelites. And there's also a verse, of course, that says a bunch of men will grab hold of the garment of a true Israelite and say, take us with you, please. They'll beg these remnants of Israel that ministers to them to take them back to Israel, to take them back to bottom part of Africa where the Israelites will be gathered, because they'll know that it's amazing there, but they can't go there. And of course, also I remember that in Isaiah it mentions that with these missionary work that they're doing, that sometimes they will actually take some of the people back to the original Israel territory. So some of the people will qualify to return to the promised land, which is it's amazing. Verse 10. Thus say Yahuwah, there shall yet be heard in this place. I just want to mention the things I mentioned, extra things. I've mentioned it in previous videos and showed the verses. So if you wonder if I'm just talking about things that I've read in the long distant past, no, it's actually from my previous videos on this channel that I mentioned these things, like the missionary work and them bringing people back with them. And I think I mentioned also there where a bunch of men grabs hold of one Israelite and ask him to take them with him to the promised land. I believe there's all these things that I've mentioned in previous videos. So you'll have to watch all the videos, sadly. Anyway, thus say Yahuwah, there shall yet be heard in this place of which ye say, it is destitute of men and cattle. See, in Yahuwah's original territory of Canaan, that became the territory of Israel, it's destitute of men and cattle. It's desolate. But what do you see in a fake Jerusalem and a fake Israel? Oh, it's full. There's millions of people there. So it can't be the real place. In the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, the places that have been made desolate for want of men and cattle. See, nothing. There's nobody. There's no people, no Israelites. There's no cattle. The voice of gladness and the voice of joy, the voice of bridegroom and the voice of the bride and the voice of men saying, give thanks to Yahuwah Almighty, for Yahuwah is good, for his mercy endures forever. And they shall bring gifts into the house of Yahuwah, for I will turn all their captivity of the lands as before, says Yahuwah. Yahuwah will change back to how it was before they were taken away as captives. Yes, those territories won't be desolate anymore. It will be fruitful. They will multiply. They will be blessed. It would be like before they sinned. And it says here they shall bring gifts, as I said in previous videos of mine. Of course, I explained this idea of bringing gifts. It is also a reference to the second Exodus, because all the second Exodus texts usually refers to people bringing gifts to Yahuwah and sacrifices, not animal sacrifices. No, they're sacrificing, like David says, the contrite heart is how we sacrifice to Yahuwah. And yes, their sacrifices is also purifying their temples, which is their bodies. There's also a sacrifice to Yahuwah. And worship. Thus say Yahuwah of hosts, there shall yet be in this place that is desert for want of man and beast, in all the cities thereof resting places, for shepherds causing their flocks to lie down, in the cities of the hill country, and in the cities of the valley, and in the cities of the south, and in the land of Benjamin, and in the cities round about Jerusalem, and in the cities of Judah, flocks shall yet pass under the hand of him that numbers them, say Yahuwah. Praise Yahuwah. His territories will be filled again with people and flocks, and yes, it will get busy again. As I mentioned in the previous videos concerning Isaiah, that the people will actually say, we want to settle down. The remnant of Israel will come to a point where they say, we need to settle down, but there's no space here. And I believe that is a reference to people moving back into the original territory. Because remember, they will be gathered in South Africa, and South Africa will become so small for all these millions and millions of descendants of Abraham coming to South Africa that they would want to settle down, but they can't because there's no space. So they'll move up into Yahweh's territory. Yahweh will allow them to. But of course, like I said in my other videos, that they'll have to get physically circumcised before they can do that, like what happened with the first Exodus. Before they could move into Canaan, they had to circumcise all the men before they crossed the Jordan River. Remember, that was what Joshua had to do. Yahweh told him, make flint knives and circumcise all the men. I believe with the second Exodus this will be the case again, because physical circumcision is part of that everlasting covenant that Yahweh made with Abraham. The promise was that they can live in the promised land. But physical circumcision is part of what Abraham's descendants had to do. So it's not going to change suddenly. It's still going to be the case in future with the second Exodus. All the men needs to be circumcised. So you can circumcise yourself now if you want, as if you're an Israelite, if you believe you are. Or you can wait to do that day if you make it to that point, then be circumcised then and there before you can enter the promised land. Yes, this is amazing revelations, and nobody else is talking about these things, so praise Yahuwah that He's revealed it to me and I can share it with you lot, with everyone else. And I hope this message spreads far and wide. In future I'll probably put all these videos on Odyssey, maybe Rumble. I'll see which one is best, under the same channel name, because if this information comes out or gets more views, it's probably going to get blocked and maybe removed from YouTube, and I don't want that to happen. But well, Satan, Lucifer, doesn't want the truth to get out there, does he? So this is really the timeline we are on. This is the next event, the second Exodus, which is part of the event of Gog of Magog growing in stature and power, as we see in Revelation 20, that Satan will use Gog of Magog to conquer many nations so that they can surround the true remnants of Israel after the second Exodus. You see that this is all working together. They're all fitting in like a puzzle. For the second Exodus to happen, Gog of Magog has to conquer many nations. While he's conquering those nations, the true remnant will gather together in one place, the second Exodus. And then afterwards, Gog of Magog will surround the area, bottom part of Africa, as I prove in my other videos, and he will try to attack them. He will be jealous. He will desire what they have. Then Yahweh will destroy them with fire. And then we are right at the end of the Bible. Then it's the Great Judgment. Then New Jerusalem comes down on the middle of Africa. That's where Yahweh is probably going to place it, so that people can visit it from month to month, from Sabbath to Sabbath, or from feast to feast, from Sabbath to Sabbath, as I showed in my previous video in Isaiah. So it can't be far away. It can't be the North Pole, because that's a bit far for a lot of people. It makes sense that it would be in the middle of Africa, easier for nations to get there from Sabbath to Sabbath and feast to feast. So yes, there you have it. Enjoy it, and take it or leave it. Yeah, go do your own studies if you want on the subject. It's amazing. I said this is going to be shorter, but it's actually only 10 minutes shorter. But there you have it. Alright, bye.